The polished wood of the bar gleamed like a mirror. Dozens of bottles sat on shelves behind the bar, every type of liquor Kay had ever seen. Arranged in groups through the car were comfortable leather and chrome armchairs and padded bench seats in wine-red leather. Walking behind the two men, Kay heard the older detective muttering to Detective O'Malley as they passed up the aisle between the seats.
"What's that thing on her shoulders?"
He didn't keep his voice down.
"I'm Mrs. Roosevelt. It looks like she's got a dead fox draped around her neck. It's got eyes and paws."
"It is a dead fox draped around her neck,"
Tim O'Malley muttered.
"It's fashion."
Kay had to smile. She had thought Mrs. Roosevelt could look so much smarter, up to date. But Mrs. Roosevelt preferred loose clothes, heavy, sensible shoes, and the most unbecoming hats.
"You know, in her pictures, she looks like she's all teeth,"
Detective Barlow added.
"Not so much in real life."
"Keep it down,"
Tim O'Malley ground out. But Kay couldn't resist. I was told a lot of people judge Mrs. Roosevelt's looks until they meet her in person and see her smile. She was pleased to see Detective O'Malley blush. Nothing could make Barlow blush, she suspected.
"Let me ask you a few questions, Mrs. Roosevelt. You didn't find the body, but you're here, in the lounge car. Why is that?"
Detective Barlow, looking inside the washroom, interrupted with another whistle.
"Pretty girl. Looks like that movie star. The one with the peekaboo blonde hair falling over her eye. Who is that?"
Veronica Lake, Kay supplied. But I feel she looks more like Ingrid Bergman. And, perhaps, a whistle is not the most appropriate sound, Mrs. Roosevelt said.
"Well, that's not a sight you see every day, not even in this job,"
Barlow said, looking like a large and sulky boy.
"Do you know the victim, Mom?"
Detective O'Malley asked. I don't know her, but I know who she is, Mrs. Roosevelt said. Barlow snorted.
"What does that mean?"
Her mother asked me not to involve the police, but her daughter has been murdered. You must be given all the information I have. Mrs. Roosevelt hesitated, and Kay saw her look uncertain for the first time. Elsa will simply have to understand, she said. I'm sure she will, Kay murmured, trying to be helpful. Thank you. To begin, Detective, the name that girl goes by is Susie Taylor.
"Goes by? That's an interesting way of giving me her name."